It is a saying, actually.
Is it saying? Really? Learn more, listen more? Or listen more, learn more?
Use your ears more than your mouth, I think. Something like that.
Yeah. Where did you learn that?
Probably from back home.
Back home? That could be a
Yeah.
good transition.
Yeah.
Okay. Ladies and gents, welcome back to Articulate with Steve McJones. Today we have one Jenn Barry.
Hi.
Jen is here
Amazing.
today because, well, lots of reasons. Because Jen's an interesting person. And
Thank you.
we were having trouble deciding on a topic. And to be honest with you, I think, we're probably going to like intertwine a lot of topics
Yeah,
anyways,
that's okay.
just because, I want to trace it back. But, the main focus today is of the DRC, right? The Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Yes, you got it right.
Yes. Alex helped me out a little bit, so which is good. And the city, Kinshasa?
Yes.
Kinshasa. Okay, cool. Yeah, I did a lot of research.
Trust yourself.
So I didn't sound like a complete idiot doing
I am
this.
glad you researced my country. This
Yeah.
is really great.
Well, I mean, we also have had a conversation before a little bit about it, about your journey on that camping trip that one time. So, and I thought it was really interesting. So, to start it out, I'm hoping that you bring a little bit more positive light from what I've found out about the history of the Congo.
I was hoping you were going to ask me that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the first thing when you go on YouTube and you put DRC,
Yeah.
it's just the mining and the war, which is true.
The
But I feel like
exploitation.
you can live well in Congo.
Mhm.
It's a huge country. So,
Right.
and the war is in the eastern part of the country,
Okay.
which sometimes even me living in the capital in Kinshasa, which is way west,
Mm-hmm.
it feels like it's so far away, but it's always good to be reminded that there's something going on there, and then that there are people suffering, and that I am privileged enough to live a good life while they probably didn't have that chance.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not what should define the whole country.
Yeah.
It's not.
Well,
No.
yeah, and I mean that's what I read a little bit about it, but it's more like the people are one of the best parts of the whole country. Is what I've heard. Like,
Yeah.
regardless of how exploited all the resources are, and how
Yeah.
people are coming in and trying to shake things up all the time, and trying to work past like 500 years of just people putting you guys down. It's the culture as a whole, you're all about music. You're all
Yeah.
about like, I mean, you're over here trying to further your education. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You're doing all these things which again, it was why I think, I'm excited to hear, your take. But so growing up in that country, how was that kind of a looming thing for you the whole time? Or did your family specifically kind of keep, you said you were privileged a little bit. So did they kind of keep you insulated or? Well, yeah. Tell me a little bit about how it was, what it was like growing up. Yeah.
Well, I would say like I come from a middle class family, so
What are they? Evolve? What is it called?
evolve.
You know what I'm talking about? It's okay. They created a middle class Evolve back in the day. It's
Oh,
fine.
okay. I
Yeah.
don't know about that, but we can talk about it later. We had independence in 1960, so
Right.
that was probably under colonization.
Yeah. Well,
Don't
I mean,
remember
was
that.
history a big part of your like education there?
Well, yeah, pretty much, but it was mostly how we all hated Belgium.
Yeah. What's crazy about that too is that like it wasn't even owned by Belgium, the
At
country
first,
at first. It was just
yeah.
like the king.
Leopold, yeah.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, you want this country? And he's like, you mean like does Belgium want or it's my birthday? I could just take it for mine.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, like I'm, doing some humanitarian like work in there. So yeah, I can have the control of the whole country. It's literally my wallet.
Dude, for 23 years.
Yeah.
And just completely destroyed it.
Yeah,
Like and
yeah.
then even the colonizers like Europe and like the
shocked.
Portuguese they were like, all right.
All right,
Yeah.
can you give it to the country now?
Yeah, that's a little much. All right, we need to pump the brakes on that.
It
Yeah.
still did not help much though.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. Anyways,
No.
yeah. So, sorry, I didn't mean to. So you were slightly middle class.
Yeah.
Growing up there, and so
Yeah.
how was that?
It was actually, I don't know, it was nice. I was mostly, I think, before I became like a teenager, my mom was a single mom and she was she's still a lawyer, but she was studying up. So even I was able to be in a private school that was a very good school at the time. I think now there's still, but like I don't think it's the same as before. But it was really like a privilege and an honor to be in that school because with my mom being I don't know, I would say like an intern after graduating from law school, and then after that becoming an associate, and during those times like being able to pay off like school and me going to that school for like 12 years. It was really like, you know, a blessing for me. And it was the type of school where like you have rich kids coming into it. Like
how big was your class?
So in high school, when the last year of high school, we call it like secondary school. So it's 6 years.
Okay.
So the last year of secondary school is the 6th year. And per class, we have maybe 30 students and we have 4 sections. So by the 3rd year of your secondary school, you have to choose a section that you want to focus on. So you have biochemistry, you have math and physics, which is one section, and you have literature. We call it literature, but think about it as like a English major, but our main language is French. So think about it as French major or something.
Yeah, sure.
And so that was 3. And then 4th, you have business, accounting. You have like accounting the section.
Yeah.
And in those 3 years, there were probably like 30 students or like 30 to 40 students per classes. So if you multiply it by 4, you're probably like having like 160 that we were finishing. Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do that math, but so I'm glad you're. So did you choose the math one?
That's crazy. You'll be surprised.
Yeah.
I was in the French literature.
Oh, really? Because you do sciencey stuff.
I know. And everyone who knew me from high school was like, what happened to you? And I was like, well, that shows you how the education was really good. Like I was able to transition so easily.
Yeah, I mean, even just the idea of setting up the last 3 years to focus on a specific subject is, set you up better for real life than what we do here.
I know. So like,
at least.
And especially in my section, it was more. So we were like studying philosophy, and we were studying literature when it comes to French literature, Latin literature, English literature. We were literally studying a dead language, Latin. Like we were like deep in it. It wasn't something that was just, we're reading this book and that's it. No, we were learning the grammar, we were learning the history, we were learning the literature, we were learning the context of all those concepts. We were learning the start of the Roman Empire and how it ended. We were learning, we had to memorize Socrates.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm gonna struggle because there are some stuff that I know in French only. We had to memorize some of like Socrates speeches.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like insane. And then we will like analyze every word. It was intense.
Right.
And then we have science, where we have biology, math, physics.
On top of that?
Chemistry, yeah. And we still kind of like the same level. Even though, of course, the 2 science section are very more in-depth, but they were still intense with us. Like when I moved here, because I was a bio major when I moved here in college, because I wanted to do pre-med, the pre-med track. My first 2 years of undergrad, I learned everything in high school already, even though I was in the French literature / philosophy section.
Yeah. I mean, they must implement a pretty disciplined, lesson plan for kids there because, is it a typical path to move and take that, your education and try to further it, in America or other countries?
Yeah. I feel like I don't know the term in English, but we have this term in French where I'm trying to translate it, where like the brains are leaving the continent.
Yeah.
I forgot the term of it, the actual term, but that's what most young people do. Like as soon as they have the opportunity to leave the country, and then back home we think about it as a blessing to leave the country.
Yeah.
It's a privilege for you to be able to live a life outside of the country because we feel so limited in a way, and but I felt like moving here and staying here for so long, you in another country where you constantly reminded that you're not from here and you don't belong here, you start changing your perspective of even loving your country and even like the nationalism of it, it's really different when you now living in another country. It really reminds you that this is not my home,
Yeah.
and this is not my land.
It's interesting. Grass is
Yeah.
always greener, you know what I mean?
Exactly. But the thing is, you just like realize how valuable your country is when you leave it.
Yeah.
And some people, I feel like my generation is pretty different, which I'm proud. Because the generation before, they used to be very content of leaving the country for years and never going back, or like they just left it behind, or they
I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, just because of like the 500 years of corruption and exploitation that went on. I mean, one of the facts that I think the population now there is like 36 million or something, which like huge. Philadelphia is 1 million for reference, right?
Imagine Kinshasa itself is 17 million. And it's the smallest city and state, because it's a city and a state.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I heard that 14% of the population of the DRC lives in Kinshasa.
Yeah.
And 85% of its GDP comes from Kinshasa.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. But one of the things I was going to say was like half of the population was under 22 there. So it's like, 17 million. Half is under 22. So that half, the entire half of the population doesn't really not understand, but like isn't as familiar with the years and years of
the history
of it.
And even like when I'm talking about the history, not just like the history of the colonization, even before the colonization, like we're not realizing like we don't really give ourselves so much value because colonization just put us down, like made us believe that we diminish and the white people are the savior and they are the way and only way. When we had a civilization before then, we were living well. We didn't need them.
Really? One of the things that I heard was that even, and again, this is what I heard, this is what I read. So it was just that like even before the colonization that there was like a king of the Kingdom of Congo.
Yes.
That was exploiting the people even back then, taxing everybody.
Yeah, but it was still, we were minding our own business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we didn't come to Europe and try to colonize people.
Okay, fair.
You know what I mean? That's kind of insane. Who thought like it was okay to leave the whole continent to go to someone else's continent and say, okay, I'm better than you. You should leave the way I tell you to leave.
Yeah.
Who thought that? Like, that's insane.
No,
We had our own, like, again, at the end of the day, we all human.
Right.
It's very similar. Even like I was reading about the Kingdom Congo, where even how they were able to like the king of I would say the king who I would say created or started the Kingdom Congo, built it. He was able to like have relationship, like he was able to build connections with different lands and different I would say territories. And they were doing that by marriages. Same thing like what Europe was doing. But we didn't have contact with them.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It's just showing you that we kind of have a similar pattern of how we
Well, and it kind of goes into what you were saying with how, just like the first, when you search DRC on anything, a lot of that exploitation comes up and it kind of tarnishes the history of it. Because, I mean, that's what I said. Like, what I read was that it was, not great before. But in actuality, they were just living their own, they were doing what everybody else was doing at the time. But they were doing it internally.
They were doing their own thing.
The whole world was bad before,
exactly.
compared to now,
I feel like, yes, of course, they also started the same thing, like, where I'd say they would start as business partners with the European. They probably started as, like, business partners. And then, all of a sudden, they find a way to divide the people, and they took over. I feel like that's pretty much a very similar stories. I was watching this show called Shogun on Hulu.
Yeah, it's pretty big now. I've only seen the first episode, but
I watched the first 2 episodes, and that's crazy. And you see like what happened to them with Japan. I always like confuse. In French, it's Japon, but in English, it's Japan. Okay.
I think people would get the vibe of what you're saying, but
yes. You see, like how in Japan it started too. Like the Jesuits were there, and the Portuguese were saying that we're just like here to spread the word about Jesus and like the religion and everything. But behind the scene, they were like plotting against them. They already like said this territory, this side of the sea is ours. And that's the
Right.
same thing that they did with Congo.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what? How sick were you
Yeah,
in your
no, it's
head?
crazy. Yeah, I mean, like
Um,
the entire country, they were just like you know, all the European and like you know Asian countries had all worked it out that they were cutting up
I
Africa without even
know.
talking to anybody up there.
I'm like, how?
Yeah,
Who gave you the privilege? Who gave you the permission? I just don't know.
yeah. I mean, you know, part of it was that the kings were supposed to be like the you know the divine kings, right? Like assigned by God. So I don't know. It seems like an ego trip to me. That's what it
Who
sounds
said
like.
that?
You know, I don't know. We learn about history and European kings were supposed to be like chosen by God. Isn't that like a whole
Also,
thing?
because our kings were not chosen by God.
Well, I'm not, yeah, no. I'm saying I agree with you.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
that's what I'm realizing too. I'm like,
yeah,
oh, I didn't even know that. That's
y-
something new to me. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah. So everybody thinks that you know they're meant to be the ruler of everything. You know what I mean?
That's where the crazy story started.
Yeah, I mean that's where all crazy people I think come from a little bit. You know what I mean? They're like, I'm supposed
Ah,
to be.
but the thing is, they're not God though.
There's what?
They're not God.
Yeah, that's true.
So how can you? And I feel like we keep repeating the same cycle where we think that we can put ourselves in the position of God
Yeah,
and ruling over people when He God gave us the mission to rule over animals and everything
yeah.
else, but not over other human.
Right.
I don't think I remember that.
Yeah, there's a whole story about the Tower of Babel, you know, where it's
Yeah.
like they try to reach God and then he's like,
Nah, bro.
nah.
Like y'all gonna have different languages now.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So it was, yeah, Christianity was a big part of your upbringing then?
yeah, I feel
Okay.
like I was actually reading in the embassy of of Congo website, and they were like, yeah, 95% are Christian, and then they broke it down as 50% are Catholics, 20% are Protestant, which is probably considered here as non-denominational,
Hmm.
and 10% are I forgot the other.
Presbyterian? I don't know.
No, no,
Some
no, no.
other
Like
one.
it's another like religion, but it's really found in Congo. I forgot. It's okay. But and then 10% Muslim and 10% of other whatever
Sure.
they call themselves. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not 95%. Did you
Yeah.
did you do
They
your
said
math
that
right?
on the embassy page?
Yeah, I was like, did
Oh,
you do your math right? Okay, 70%. I'm thinking, yeah, probably 70% are like Christian or like 80%.
okay, cool. Yeah, so a lot of the people that was the private school like a Catholic school?
It was they always said affiliated.
Affiliated.
It was
Interesting.
created by this Belgian woman who
Yeah.
thought that she had to help us.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
she came and she
Classic.
created this school to give
This
us the
school.
education that
Did
we
you have
need.
Did you have Bible class?
No.
Okay, so it wasn't even.
That's what
it
they were
wasn't
like. They
really
were like
that.
affiliated.
Yeah, affiliated.
Yeah. So we had to do, I think every year we had to go to a mass
Mm-hmm.
with the whole school.
Mm-hmm.
But
Right. Well, so kind of circling back to like your journey, right? So you know, then you were talking about how you came to America and how your perspective changed like entirely. Um, and so yeah, in what ways did you think about the Congo before you left? Like, what did you enjoy about it? Were you ready to go before? And like, you know, like
mm,
you said, it was probably an exciting thing that you know your whole life was working up to this moment, right?
yeah, I'll be honest with you. I actually didn't want to come here.
At all?
Where I wanted to go was Cape Town. I wanted to live in Cape Town.
Cape Town?
Yeah,
Is that in New Jersey?
in South Africa.
Okay, sorry.
I wanted to go there. I have family there. I still have family there, but during that time there was a lot more of them there, and they also speak English because I wanted to go to a country where I wanted to be challenged with another language. I didn't really want to go to France. I didn't want to be
Right.
in Belgium at all. But I still applied to France though, and they rejected me all three.
Oh,
They
don't
made
deserve you,
me.
Jen.
They
don't deserve-
literally made me do a test, a French test. I'm a native. Like, how are you
Wow.
making me do a test? That's how these people think we're so less of them, bro.
That's crazy. Is this when you were still pursuing literature? Or at what point is this? In
It's
the process?
graduating high school. I think by the 4th year of secondary school, I already knew, oh, okay, I don't want to be a lawyer.
Yeah, okay.
Because people were mostly going to that section to be lawyers.
So you didn't want to be a lawyer and you decided that you wanted to help people. I don't know.
Oh, actually, it's not crazy story, but it's not like, oh, I want to help people. It was more like, I am pissed that we don't have a lab in a school, and I have to watch this professor doing this small experiment with water to kind of like give us a visual of what we're learning. And it only happened once in that year.
Wow.
And I was like, how come we don't have labs like they show us in America?
Yeah.
And the TV show in Disney Channel, where like I don't know, they're cutting mice or like,
Yeah, owl pellets.
you know, they're like cutting frogs.
Yeah,
and they
you
like,
wanted to do that stuff.
I'm like, why are we not doing it?
Yeah.
It's a private school. At that time, it was probably like one of the first 5 really renowned school. And I'm like, we have to do this. We have to just watch this guy.
Yeah.
And then and then on top of that, this was just my section. But compared to the biochem people, that was like kind of like regularly to them. I don't really remember, but like they didn't get to do anything in the lab of some sort. But that's the section. That's what they're supposed to be doing.
Wow.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, now I just want to do some research. But at the same time too, I wasn't really exposed to that career field. Like the only thing we know back home is engineer, lawyer, and business.
Business, yeah. Right.
You're gonna work in a bank or IT. You gonna work in some company.
Yeah.
You know, those are like the main one where like every parent probably is encouraging you. But my parents were kind of different. They're very different. They're very like, I don't know, modern parents. They were like, we're just gonna support you in what you want. And I was like, okay, doctor. Because I think by the 4th year, I was still like processing. I don't want to be a lawyer.
But at that point, it's interesting because it sounds like even before you got out of the country, you were still already focused on like, what could we improve here? You know what I mean?
I know.
Yeah.
I was pissed most of the time.
Most of the time.
Even wanting to be a doctor, it really fueled me when I had this, would you say cousin-in-law? Like,
sure, yeah.
Yeah. I had this cousin-in-law who, when she gave birth, they kind of messed up her uterus where she couldn't have a baby anymore.
Damn.
And that messed me up. I was so pissed.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't believe this is still happening. I'm sure if it was in another country, even not just America, like even in another African country, this wasn't going to happen.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, why is this still happening to us? And we're dying from diseases and circumstances.
That are like aged, like centuries old. You know?
Yeah, like that, like some other countries already figure it out. Like some other doctors already figure it out.
Right.
But at the end of the day, also, what can you do?
Yeah, see, no, that's like, I have respect for you because like there's, obviously my perspective has changed now, but growing up in Ohio, it was like, I just got to get out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I just got to leave.
I know.
Why do we not have other ideas? You
I
know,
know.
things like that. So, respect for you to already kind of like start questioning this, like why, and like why don't we have these resources here?
Yeah.
So then you decided through that program that you wanted to go to Cape Town because of the, your family and the school that was down there.
Yeah.
And the challenge of English, I guess, right?
Yeah, the new challenge of, having a new identity, speaking English.
Yeah.
Not really, but like more like I've always liked, how people love French here or Spanish here? Same thing. That's how you would
It's like kind
say.
of exotic.
Yeah, it's like, oh, like you're saying some stuff in English. Instead of saying I'm done in French, like j'ai fini, you'll be like finished. And I'm like, you feel so cool. So I think I was like, I need to extend this. I'm tired of pretending. I need to like actually be a English speaker.
Yeah.
And
totally. Yeah. So that kind of drove you. So then, did you not get accepted to Cape Town?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I was rejected.
Yeah.
I applied to the University of Johannesburg.
What did you do wrong, Jen? What was your mistake?
My mistake was that I was way too over my head.
Oh,
and then they asked me to go back to my country and Wait, that's totally wrong. But like they literally told me, oh, you just graduated high school. Maybe you should just like start university for a year back home and then come back here because that was the higher chances of you getting into those type of programs. Sure. And I was like, I think I would rather just go home and be a doctor there because what is the point of I'm already here? It's been 7 months. I'm already ready to like start school. Mm-hmm. And you're telling me that I have to go back to my country and coming back here? I was like, that's fine. I literally called my mom and because I gave me like a year visa and I was like, Mom, I'm done being here. She's like, but like, don't you want to wait and see? And I'm like, I would rather go home and have the risk of probably, because like the thing also with university at home is that it's not the risk of finishing on time is is a bit lower
Because of what?
because like there
Schools.
could be, I don't know, there could be many factors where like, I don't know, someone is striking and then you can't go to school for 3 months and then you kind of like late.
That happens often?
That used to happen often, so I don't know if it's still happening, to be honest. I've been out of the country for like 8 to 9 years.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, and I hope not. But it was kind of frequent. So imagine if you're in medicine and back home it's like 10 years. So I went home for 3 months, and before I even left, my mom already started the process of coming here. She already contacted people like that she knew that were
Your
like,
mom had your back. She was ready. She
Yeah.
was making plans.
she
for
was
it.
making plans.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I just waited 3 months. Like I was just home for 3 months, and then I came here
Wow,
Yeah.
immediately.
immediately.
Did you have to apply to schools here?
Someone did that for me.
Really?
They have agency there where
Okay.
you just send all your information.
Yeah, what do you say, taking the brains out of the country or something?
Kind
like
of,
that?
yeah. We have to go find the right saying. Now I feel bad that everybody has to hear this.
Brains out
Wrong.
of the country.
Yeah, the
I
wrong
kinda
saying.
like it personally. I'm a fan. Yeah. So when you came over here, culture shock.
I was mostly culture shock in South Africa.
South Africa first, and
Yeah.
that kind of just like
I wasn't impressed by the US, to be honest.
really.
I mean, I went to West Virginia.
yeah.
I was in a
Wild and-
small town in West Virginia. Like,
Yeah.
let's be honest. Like, and then you come from a whole big
yeah.
city. I was living in center city. Like, I was like living in downtown.
Was it you? I don't know if there was somebody there that I knew that was like, had was black and it was like there was only one other black family that they knew in the entire place.
Wow,
And
that
they
wasn't me
said-
because there was a lot of us there
Okay.
from my high school.
Mhm.
So
Oh, so at least did you know people from your high school? then?
yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah,
All right. So,
So,
you had like
yeah.
a little squad.
yeah. I kind of had, but the thing
French-speaking
is,
squad.
when you have those squad, there's a lot of drama and a lot of stories. But
Yeah, I'm more interested in like the like I said, like what you were saying about how much you realized about home
mhm,
after you were gone. You know what I mean?
mhm,
And I remember the conversation that we had,
Mhm.
a year ago or whenever that was.
mhm.
It was how much you missed your family and your
Yeah.
home and everything.
I miss everything.
Yeah, and it's just interesting because especially nowadays, I get a lot of different perspectives meeting people in Philadelphia, and I have met a lot of people that hype up America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As much as people like to crap on it in the state that it is
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
there's a lot of immigrants that I've met that are like, I mean, I still wouldn't prefer to stay at my home. Like coming here
Yeah.
was like one of the best things that happened to me.
Mhm,
And I've been able to make my own way with everything that I've been
mhm.
wanting to do. So, it's interesting to hear somebody that's like, nah.
No, like, yeah. I think I'm in between.
You said no, but yeah.
I'm in between. I feel like it's one thing about Americans though. Like they love the country, and I feel like we have to give it to Americans. They love the country,
Yeah.
and it's really transcended through like movies and like how the culture are shared outside of the country.
Sure.
So we receive it, and we don't really have it like that. You know what I mean? We do, but I don't think it's highlighted as much as in how, like, for example, in New York, how like people love New York. People from New York
Okay.
love New York. So
Right.
I feel like it's not as highlighted. Me coming from Kinshasa, and I'm like, oh my God, I love Kinshasa. Like right now, my brother can't wait to leave the country. He graduated from high school. He
Oh.
just can't wait. But I'm
Okay.
sure when this dude get here, he'll be
Yeah.
like, yo, I miss my country.
Kinshasa,
So
yeah.
I miss Kinshasa so much. So I feel like it, the difference, I think that's what's like attracting also in a way where you're like,
Interesting,
yeah, they hyped it up. It must be good.
It
If
must
they,
be good, right?
it must be good.
Yeah.
So it is good some way, but yet again, it's humans.
Yeah, it's just
Country- like,
humans doing
it's-
the thing.
We all kind of similar in a way.
Do you think
Yeah.
if you went back, when was the last time you went back?
Since I moved here,
Really?
Yeah.
Because you were supposed to go that one time.
yeah, I was supposed to go last year, but things didn't work out. And I was supposed to go this year, and I think it won't be working out.
Yeah.
But next year's the year.
Next year is the year for sure.
Next year is the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Is do you think what if you go back and it's not?
It's
the
gonna be
grass is
so
greener?
different.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It's
saying. The
so
grass is always greener, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm probably gonna be like after 2 weeks, I'm like, I need to go home.
Mhm.
But I just miss it. And I felt like I really made a mistake of not going back every summer
Mhm.
because I had friends who had the ability to do that. but it's so expensive. It's like
Sure.
1,300 or like that was 1,300 is not even the price. When my parents come visit me, they pay like $2,500 round trip, or like 1,800 if they're lucky.
Yeah.
So imagine me during those times. My mentality was like, I need to be done with school, and I was taking summer classes. In undergrad, I was kind of crazy, but like I was taking summer classes. I was working during the summer, so I was like, my parents are already helping me so much. Like, especially with us having our parents sending us here, they take care of everything. They send you pocket money. They send you rent, electricity, and all that. They pay for your tuition, because here we don't have scholarships like that. There are some scholarships. That's why we were mostly in West Virginia, because I got like a good scholarship there.
That probably makes sense.
But we can't get loans because we're not citizen, or we don't have a green card.
Yeah.
So we pay everything out of pocket. So I think, I don't know if I had some type of guilt, and I was like, I need to like work for myself, like even to buy a computer. Like,
well, sure. I mean,
you know
that's
what I
a
mean?
lot, you know, for your parents to really take on that weight, and then to make the plan for you, and then to execute it and send you all that money and everything. I mean, that's a lot of respect to your parents, especially. I mean, I don't, know what the exchange rate is like, but if the economy is anything what I researched, it must take a lot of work for them to be able to put you through everything that you go through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then even like at least in West Virginia, life was a bit less expensive. So I had a huge community. So I think in our house we were like, I had 3 other roommates, and I was just paying $300 plus utilities on top of that. Like the total was $300 every month. And then because we're all from the same culture, so we were helping each other up with like cooking, and we always had good meals. So like when I moved here, like I was only on campus for the first year because the cafeteria food was making me literally sick. I had to write an essay and saying that I cannot survive with this food. I need to leave.
Yeah.
And because we're freshmen, they had like a type of rule where like you can only leave campus when you're like a sophomore.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I cannot. I need to leave, please. And they finally accepted. So like we all moved, and we're able to have actually our own meals. So that was really nice. And then
it must have felt like a little slice of home, right?
It was good. It was good. And then moving to Philly was a whole different thing. Firstly, rent was like $900.
Yeah.
That's not even counting like
$300.
Yeah. And
that's
then
with a roommate.
Yeah. And then I was in the studio, and then my parents had, like, the shift was so huge.
Yeah.
It was,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
If I was not able to go home as often as I do, which I don't go that often, but that is really kind of like a breath of fresh air for me, or like a reminder, and it kind of helps me reset and everything. So what do you think like helps you really cope? Is it that little slice of home that you try to continue, or like
keep me going, like motivated to like just
to,
do my work here?
And I mean, it sounds like I know that you put a lot of work into what you do, and I mean, you love it, so that probably helps too.
I think I'd say I love school, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah.
Because even when I talk about the things that I remember from my high school, I don't think everybody does, you know? So it's just a few of us that actually like school and want to keep going, and that's what's motivating them. And then I would say also, I'm such a type A, and I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest of my siblings. So you already kind of have that unspoken pressure on you, where like you're the first one to leave. And I feel like of all my family, I'm the only one who came here to study. Right. I have like 2 cousins or few people who came here, but they probably came here when they got married, or like they came here for other purposes. But I'm the only one who actually came all the way to this country to study. Right. So and then everybody's looking at you, and then it's like you gotta make this work, because things will be said, Yeah,
well, everybody's looking at you, and on top of like the the familiar pressure, like again, it's your parents are doing this for you. You know what I mean?
They the sacrifices that they're going through to when they have other kids.
Right. How many siblings do you have?
I have 2 siblings.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a younger brother who just graduated high school.
Right, so he's gonna come over here.
Yeah,
so that'd be cool.
That would be cool too.
And
my younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah. So imagine, like, I feel like...
What's your brother? Is he coming to study as well?
Yes. Okay. He's coming to study too.
A little less pressure.
Right? I got him. At least he won't be alone.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited. The first thing I'll be like, don't get a credit card. Don't get a credit card. They're lying to you.
Yeah.
I can't wait to have the financial class with him.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you like school and learning and studying so much, because then
Mhm.
you kind of get to be the teacher to your brother, and that'll
Exactly.
probably be really good. I think.
Exactly.
And you learn
Yeah.
and you learn more when you're the teacher, I think.
Exactly.
But outside of the familiar pressure, I think that's almost a negative, and that's an external, what do they call it? Extrinsic motivation.
Mm.
Now, what's your intrinsic motivation?
I just want to do more.
You just want to do more. You just
I
want to
just
do it
want to.
all.
I just want to do more. I feel like I'm very curious. First of all, like
Yeah.
anything that is like that I can do, what I'm able to do, I want to do it. And I feel like also I always had this dream that I will make science more not just attractive, because I think we already know that, but like creating jobs where like people can be just trained and be in the science field and work in labs. And I feel like we only have these two major labs back home that actually do research or like diagnostic type of research or testing. You see how here they do PCR and stuff like that, like stuff like that, like blood work. But I don't think, and then there are some research labs where they're really working on tropical diseases, because that's what is mostly prominent there. But I would like to have more training people, like, and I love teaching. So I feel like that's also my drive, where I need to get somewhere where I will be able to do that in the future. And I didn't came here just for myself.
Right.
And of course, I'm one person. I'm not going to change a whole country.
Yeah.
There's a system, there's a culture, there's, it's already done. But like, I feel like I want to be part of something that would like make people more. I think my thought is that there's so many smart people there. They're like so smart.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you came out of there. You're one of the smartest people I know, and you were like, I didn't even hold a light to any of those people. I couldn't even get it to Cape Town.
So like, people are so smart in Congo, and I feel like they just need an opportunity, and they want to survive, so they're willing to work.
Right.
Except, there are some people who don't really want to work. So,
you're gonna get that everywhere.
Yeah,
for
you get that
sure.
everywhere.
But that's one of the biggest takeaways that I got from my research
Yeah.
is they always ended it with like the spirit of the Congo, and
Yeah.
especially in Kinshasa is how lively and vibrant. And I mean, we were talking about the music, but
Yeah.
talking about the education is like people are so if half of the population is under 22, a lot of them aren't going to stand for a crappier future if they can help it. You know what I mean?
They want something to do.
Yeah.
I don't think you when they don't have options, they become rebellious. There's just so many chaos, and then or they will join the army and get killed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like we just have to give them hope, and maybe this could be one. And of course, this is working with humans. Like, we all not perfect, and then I'm not gonna expect that everybody's be like, you came and saved us. I'm not bringing any savior complex here.
Would be pretty cool though, right?
No,
okay.
it won't be cool, bro. No, we don't like that. We don't like that.
Okay.
It will be like meeting people at their need. Like, how can I provide a service that they need? You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm always gonna. That's my my mindset, where I'll go toward it more like, I am your partner. I'm not your boss or anything like that.
Right,
Even though kind of
right.
I am, but like, like it's more in the mentality of like, I'm here to help ourselves.
Sure.
And for that, I need to make a lot of connections. So for me, I feel like I'm already at that start of my career where I'm able to know a little bit more about what I'm doing in the lab, what we're working on. And then the fact that even I fell into cancer research was kind of like very interesting for me, because I'm like, would they need labs there for that? But yes, what if, even if it's a small percentage, why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what about like doing a short program in biology and being able to just be techs or like research tech? Like, you know what I mean? So some people do that here with just a high school degree, bachelor degree, sorry.
Right.
With a bachelor degree. So what if they just also do a bachelor degree there, where they have like a very extensive, or like how do you say, like when you cut it short, a very
Like an associate's degree?
kind of like an associate degree. Yes,
Right. Yeah.
like people having an associate degree and then being able to be in the lab and then help out, and then if they
Right.
want to further their education
Then
and
they
if
can
it's
go
possible,
for it.
then they can go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because it's not everyone who likes school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just want to be able to like have the money and to help their family
Sure.
for them to have a meal on their plate every day.
Right.
Because again, like back there, the population is mostly they living paycheck by paycheck.
Sure.
So like whatever is out there when they're coming out, that's what they're bringing back home. So I feel like that's my dream, and that's what's kind of motivating me.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, it sounds like because brains are their number one export.
Yes, yes.
Because people, well, young people are their number one exports. I imagine you're not the only one that's had this experience or this realization. You know what I mean? It sounds like, I mean, do you still talk to other people that have moved out and have similar ideas to you?
Yeah, that's why I was saying I like about my generation. A lot of them that I know moved back and started businesses. Again, there's another thing where like Congolese people love they're very entrepreneurial.
Sure.
So it feels like there's like a suffocation. I don't know, like a.
Yeah, like it's a saturated.
It's
market
a saturated,
little
saturated market.
Yeah.
Very saturated.
bit. Interesting.
But yet again, why not?
I mean, there's so many people though
Yeah.
but of course then, you have to have customers if you want to have those businesses over there. So
Exactly.
it's like kind of a strange dichotomy. But I mean, it sounds like you at least have ideas to start, doing that, and you're on the path already. And I think you're right in, the networking of it all, the connections that you make, because I mean, it's how politics should work. But but like having people and people believing in your idea, and then once you have shown that you have the experience and the skill and the talent, and then you take it back there, you already know all the people that you knew growing up that came back with you, and you have all the connections here now, and I think you could really make something happen if you wanted to.
And I feel like even the beginning of my dream was just me being a bridge, and I didn't know what that meant.
Being a bridge.
Yeah, being a bridge. And I was like, what does that mean? Because I'm not a teacher. And then also it's gonna be a bit tough if I were to be a bridge from a French-speaking country to an English-speaking country.
Even harder.
But yeah, like I feel like the more I'm just questioning it, or put in contact with different people. Like the last time, a few months ago, I got in contact with this man who is in the he's from the eastern part of Congo, but like he's working in this hospital in Burundi, I think, which is our neighbor to the eastern part of Congo.
Yeah.
And he was telling me that he literally made incubators he built incubator for babies.
Wow.
And I was like, how are you like here talking to me?
Yeah.
Like this doctor, and then he came in it's in Rhode Island, Brown University, right?
Right.
He came to Brown University to get a master in how to I don't remember what was the master in it, but because of that master, they were able to give him funding to continue his work. Wow. And I was like, that's the type of people I want to be in contact. Like, I want to meet more of them.
Like him just starting doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
And then when he hit a roadblock, figure that out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he got some, I would say like, he was seen somewhere, and they gave him a grant for him to be able to come here, study for 2 years, and he went back to his hospital.
Right.
It's not all of us who just want to stay here and do nothing. We actually want to go back to our country.
Yeah,
so please stop reminding us that.
Yeah, no. Oh, sad.
It's so sad.
It is sad. Well, yeah, so how much longer do you have within your program? I know
I'm kind of done. Like, I'm really done with my master. Like,
okay.
I was done like 2 years ago. But I feel like I still need, like, I want to get a PhD. But I feel like even during my PhD, I would want to be in and out to kind of already build something. I feel like, why should I wait after school to like start something? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, like that guy did. He started doing the work, and then when he hit a roadblock, it's like, okay, I need to get a PhD to further this or to get the funding or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you hop on it then.
Yeah, he got a master though. He was already a doctor of medicine.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. But so for right now, you're kind of just working. In the lab.
I'm just enjoying it.
Really?
I love what I do. I love taking care of my cells and engineering them and modifying them, and then testing expression, validating, and then going in meetings and talking about what I just did and then how to make it better. And then I feel like I'm just learning so much. And I feel like I was also I'm very lucky to have the mentor that I have. He's really willing to have time to like explain things to me, because I I learned everything about research in academia, which is in school. So like academia is mostly like seen as the labs in the school.
Yeah, of course.
Don't know why I explained that, but you probably know.
Isn't that where most labs are in academia?
Yeah, I would say. I feel like like people would say that's where most inventions are found in academia.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So but I didn't know anything about the industry. I
Right.
honestly didn't even know. I didn't even like, again, I wasn't really exposed to this career, so I didn't realize that you actually need people in the lab in the industry in biopharma. I was always thinking about it just pills, the end of it. I didn't think like the very beginning of it.
Yeah.
I mean, no one told me about it.
Well, yeah, in a similar sense, I relate like within, if the creative stuff that I do. So if I want to make a movie, it's like you got to know the business stuff.
Yeah.
Like, how do you even get your movie like out
Exactly.
to people who can do, make it into it instead of this like end goal of being a director that just
Yeah.
does like big movies, or you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
in a similar sense, there's still that business aspect that you have to learn within the industry. But you have a mentor that's helped you a lot with that.
Yeah, like I think for me, grad school, moving here was really great. Again, this city is really great with biomedical, biotech, all these health science, like so many great schools
Really?
here.
Yeah,
And
Philly is like one of the big,
yes,
medical towns. Maybe the biggest one. I don't know, city, I guess. But
probably one of. And
Yeah.
I would say Boston, like Cambridge or Massachusetts is
Sure.
also another big one.
right.
But I really learned a lot about like what I can do with my master, like in biomedical sciences, because for me, biomedical sciences was so just general. Like I was like, what do you even do with this? I thought it was just a stepping stone to go to medical school,
Yeah.
but it's way more than that.
Oh, really?
So you can do so much with it. So the fact that I was able to get into the industry and then learn about the different aspects of even the research itself, like how you're able to, because I'm in the discovery side, so I'm in the very first step of
Yeah.
like working for therapies for cancer. So the fact that you're realizing there's so many different teams, you have the chemists, you have all these different teams, like the in vivo, which they work with the mice, which I worked with the mice in grad school, but like I didn't know there was a whole team just working for, with that. Like,
Yeah.
and then there's different other cross-functional teams that where they working together for your project. And then at the end of the day, like I think at the very end, you have like downstream or you have like QC. And then now you have the marketing team, like who's deciding what will be the name of the drug, And then of course that is before if we have to go through this process called new molecular NME. Yeah, new molecular. Oh my God, I forgot. It's NME. Just remember it as NME.
Okay.
NME. So we have to be approved for that first. I think it's throughout the company, and then we send it to clinical trials. And after the clinical trials, if they're going well, then I think then the whole process is happening with the FDA, and then they approve it finally. And it's
yeah.
actually like
So
a
the
drug.
things that you're doing are actually sometimes being implemented and
Yes.
used for good. So that that's I think that's even obviously the initial goal or your overarching goal is to bring those the accessibility and the appreciation for that stuff back to Kinshasa. But I think growing your love for it here first and seeing the ways that you can implement and actually put in the things to work here, you know what I mean, is gonna help long term.
Exactly.
When you go back and it's like, oh, I've met this roadblock, like this governmental roadblock before, or it's like, oh, okay, so we need a team, we need a we need a marketing team.
Yeah.
If you were to like go back and be a part of a new medical research company or cancer research company back there, yeah. So that's cool. So I mean, you're still learning. Do you think you'll ever? I guess I don't know. I don't know what the industry is like at all. I assume you can just probably do the same thing you're doing now for years and years and years and keep learning and keep growing. But yeah, do you imagine that there's going to be a time when you're ready to take on that venture, that entrepreneurial adventure, and bring it back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I keep running away from it, but it's following me. Both of my parents are entrepreneurs. Like my mom owns her own law firm and my dad owns his own company. So I feel like it's kind of like in the family already, and the culture.
Yeah, and the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are you scared of it?
Because I like structure. Of course, in entrepreneurial you have some type of structure, but like But I like, oh, I can just be an employee. But you reminded the
and
consistency.
the stability.
Exactly. But again, is it actually that stable though?
No,
It's
nothing's
not.
stable.
It's
yeah.
not. Nothing is stable.
Right.
I learned that the hard way. So I feel like I just had this idea that entrepreneur was too much risk than you being an employee. But like also being an employee, you also have risk of being laid off and being fired and just things happening. So I think of now, like I'm really realizing that was kind of insane to think that way. So
you could just do this forever.
Yeah, I'm like, no, like I can do this, but like I don't think it should be for forever.
Yeah.
I should be able to branch out in a different season of my life, and like.
Well, obviously you love challenges, which is
exactly
what you said before. You know what I mean? So as much as you love organization
yes.
and consistency, you probably and I think it's going to be natural for anybody to want to change at some point and to change things up. So. I don't know. If you're enjoying what you do now, like, why not just keep doing it? Yeah.
And then it's not like I'm just doing it because I don't want to move anywhere. It's more like I'm learning.
You're still learning and you're still helping people.
Yeah, I couldn't even freaking remember what enemy means, bro. Like I'm like still learning.
Sure. Yeah, you're gonna go back to Kinshasa and realize that you're still the low, like don't know anything compared to anybody else there.
Exactly. So that's why I'm like, I need to like learn, guys. Knowledge is power. So
yeah. Well, it's cool. I mean, obviously, we could talk about your medical stuff. We could make a whole other podcast episode about like your cancer research and stuff like that. But I think we covered a good range of things right now. And like I said, it is, you are one of the main examples probably of the spirit and like the culture and the entrepreneur. But like the positive. Like I said, there's so much. And like we didn't cover half of whatever.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't really want to go over.
I didn't want to go over either. I didn't want to go over. I was like kind of like watching videos to kind of just check my facts before I come here, and I cried. I literally cried, and I was like, I don't think I can do this.
Right,
so I'm glad that we didn't talk
about
about this. Yeah.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like you're a good example, and I think because there's so many, there's so many natural resources, and there's the spiritual entrepreneurship, and the priority of education, and the building the city and expanding on public infrastructure and things like that to help people. I think it's only going to get better from here. You hope. Obviously, there's a lot of variables there.
I know there's a lot of variables.
But like I said, Jen, anywhere you go, you're gonna make it a better place. I think.
I believe that.
Okay.
For myself,
including this podcast. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
This podcast very nice. Do you want to, I guess, do you have Instagram? Do you like a website before? I don't know. I guess you don't need to work. I don't know. A lot of people are like, check out my movie or follow me on Instagram or something. You're like, I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.